is Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 6-point favorite right now, and this is a big opportunity for both schools. Oklahoma is trying to bounce back in a big way. Brent Venables' job is kind of, I won't say hinging on this game, but this season for sure. They need a signature win early in the season. They need a big win early on, and this is a great opportunity to do exactly that. Both teams are 1-0, and both teams got off to good starts in a way, but Oklahoma looked much better than Michigan did. They're also in different positions in terms of the quarterback. Now, Michigan struggled against New Mexico at times. A 34-17 win. Again, you didn't feel like Michigan was going to lose that game. However, it was not their best performance. It was not a good performance overall. And if you're Michigan, you need to play better than you did last week. Bryce Underwood, his era starts at Michigan. He looked pretty solid. 67% completion percentage, 251 yards, 1 touchdown. He also threw a really nice block, although you don't want him doing that with his shoulder, with his throwing shoulder, but you can't really take the competitor out of the kid a lot of times. So that might just be something you live with. You just want to limit how many times you're doing that. Bryce Underwood is going to be the biggest key in this game. His performance probably dictates the outcome. And you have a true freshman going against Brent Venables. That is going to be extremely tough. If you are a Michigan fan, how do you live with the fact that you have this freshman that you paid this much money to, and he's going into a hostile environment on the road against one of the best defensive minds in college football? If Bryce Underwood is the real deal, he'll be just fine. And that's really exciting. I think a lot of times we look at true freshmen and we say, okay, well, he's going to play in the SEC against a really good team. That's probably not going to end up well. And we have this anxiety usually about what he isn't going to do. But what if he plays well? What if he handles the game with composure? And when I say plays well, I don't necessarily mean throwing for 300 plus yards. I mean, what if he makes the smart read? What if he makes a couple of big time throws? He maybe doesn't have the best box score, but he plays a game that if you watch the film, you say, okay, this kid's going to be special. And right now, that is the general consensus with Bryce Underwood, is that he's going to be special. And that probably is going to be true. He looks really good. We've seen the talent. This is one of those games that either starts your legacy or means that you're kind of just like a lot of other true freshmen. And the second part isn't necessarily bad, but it means that you have some work to do. The other one is this kid's worth every dime. He's the real deal. Some comparisons to Cam Newton are going to keep going or grow even more. But this is a massive opportunity for Bryce Underwood. It's also a massive opportunity for Sharon Moore. I think there are a lot of questions about Sharon Moore as a head coach. There are a lot of questions about his ability to win a big game like this outside of Ohio State. There are questions about him as a head coach. And I think that it's not me, but there are a lot of people. I mean, I do have questions about him. And again, questions versus concerns. I have questions about his ability to win a big game like this and if he actually is going to be a good head coach. I think that a lot of people have questions about, is he actually good at what he does, or did he just inherit a good situation? This is also an opportunity for a signature win for him. So you have a young freshman and a guy that is facing a lot of scrutiny because of his coaching experience or inexperience, if you will. That is a big opportunity if you're Michigan, and that's going to be fun to watch. That's a great storyline to follow. It's two great storylines. A true freshman quarterback's first big test on the road against an SEC opponent with a coach that needs to prove that he can win, and then gets to go on a two-game suspension for, we don't even need to go into that. But I think that there's a lot of pressure on both of them. The one thing I will say is that you do have a guy in Justice Haynes who got off to a massive start. 16 carries for 159 yards, near average 10 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. You also have a defense that is going to be relentless. I mean, you look at last week, New Mexico quarterback Jack Lane is going to have a lot of soreness this week. He is going to be in a lot of pain because Michigan just took it to him. I don't know what he did to upset them, but he definitely got hit quite a bit. And that's going to be something that helps Bryce Underwood feel comfortable and get in a rhythm in this game. Now, if you're Oklahoma, there's a lot of eyes in your quarterback too. There are some questions about John Mateer's legitimacy as a big-time quarterback. So far, checked one box. This is another big one to check. The tools are there. The talent is there. But some people still question if he had struggles at Washington State against Mountain West competition, is he going to have struggles against a Big Ten opponent? And Michigan's defense is going to be one of the toughest defenses he plays. That is going to be a big test for him. It's also going to give him an opportunity to silence the doubters. Nobody is taking a ton of stock off last week's win, and that just is what it is because we played an FCS team. At the same time, he looked really good in this offense, and it's not an offense he's not familiar with. Like he came with his offensive coordinator, so we knew that he was going to do that, and that's a great position. What do you do when you're facing a team like Michigan? Michigan is going to give you a ton of different looks. Wink Martindale is very good at sending pressure, and he's going to be aggressive. How do you combat that? How do Mateer and Ben Arbuckle find ways to counter that? That's going to be a fun chess match to watch. Arbuckle versus Martindale is going to be so much fun. I'm excited to watch that matchup and that battle back and forth. I think finding ways to rattle Bryce Underwood is going to be a big, big key here. The home crowd is going to play a role in that. Oklahoma's defensive line can get after him. And you're going to have rush lane discipline. You're going to have to keep gap integrity, and you're going to have to tackle him to the ground with good form. Bryce Underwood is solid. Yes, he's a freshman, but he's built solid. He has the ability to withstand some of that pressure and some of those hits. And that's something that Oklahoma has to focus on early. If they can rattle him, this game's going to quickly go into their favor. If they can give different looks, again, we talked about one coordinator matchup. Brent Venables' ability to rattle Bryce Underwood is going to be fun to watch. And we already talked about it a little bit, but how they get him into tough positions is going to be a big key for them. Keeping this offense off the field and also dictating the pace. Oklahoma wants to go as fast as possible. Michigan, not so much. They're not trying to run as many plays as possible. They're trying to slow things down a little bit more and be efficient. If you can get explosive plays, if your offensive line can keep John Mateer up, you're in a really good spot to win football games. I like Oklahoma in this one. I think that they're going to pull away at home, and I think that it's going to be a fun environment. I do like the Sooners quite a bit.